Marjorie Taylor Greene just became the first Republican lawmaker in Congress to call the crisis in Gaza a genocide. Right? And specifically, her comment was made in reaction to a social media post last week from her colleague, Republican Representative Randy Fine. And there you had Fine responding to an article about how 15 people, including 4 children, had died of starvation in Gaza over the previous 24 hours. And you had him writing, "Release the hostages. Until then, starve away. This is all a lie anyway. It amazes me that the media continues to regurgitate Muslim terror propaganda." And then yesterday you had Greene making her own post responding to an article alleging that the powerful pro-Israel lobby AIPAC had removed Fine from their list of endorsed candidates. With Greene noting that Fine had barely won his seat in a deep red Florida district and writing, "I can only imagine how Florida's 6th district feels now that their representative that they were told to vote for openly calls for starving innocent people and children." And then adding, "It's the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October 7th in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned, but so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza." With her then continuing, "But a Jewish U.S. representative calling for the continued starvation of innocent people and children is disgraceful. His awful statement will actually cause more anti-Semitism." And so her comments, they're notable for a number of different reasons. Because not only is she reportedly the first Republican in Congress to call what's happening in Gaza a genocide, she's one of the few lawmakers to do so at all. If you look into it, only a handful of other progressives have actually used that label, and most of them are her sworn enemies in the squad. Though that, as of course I have to mention, that claim has been backed up by numerous leading human rights organizations, including, most recently, a top Israeli rights group. But then, on the other side, you also have a lot of people noting that Greene, she has a history of being openly anti-Semitic. And they're notably, I'm not talking about the perspective from some that all criticisms of Israel or the Israeli government is anti-Semitic. I'm talking about Jewish space laders and racist conspiracies, which is then why you had some saying that it's hypocritical for her to accuse Fine, who's a Jewish lawmaker, of increasing anti-Semitism when she has actively spread anti-Semitic hate. With some then more directly claiming that her stance is actually rooted in anti-Semitism, arguing, well, she's an anti-Semite, and that also means she incidentally opposes Zionism too. Nothing to do with the genocide, mind you. But then at the same time, you had others arguing that this represents a change in the general discourse around Gaza, with one user posting that Greene shift shows just how undeniable the horrors in Gaza have become, and adding, even those who once blindly supported Israel are starting to break ranks.